Hi there, Malcolm here for my 351st Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you the review for the first book I finished this year, Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 1, The Last Amazon, which collects up the Absolute Wonder Woman comics numbers 1 through 7, all written by Kelly Thompson, which right from the gate is brilliant that we have a consistent writer throughout the entire graphic novel. So many times now I've read an ongoing story that has a number of different authors who do different parts of it, and it can lead to an inconsistent tale. So having just the one author being responsible for the whole book is fantastic. Now the artwork does change between the three main segments, but at least we still have the same writer. Now I don't know a huge amount about the proper Wonder Woman lore, whatever that may be. I saw parts of a couple of the original Linda Carter Wonder Woman episodes on the telly. It was always on at the wrong time. I never saw a whole episode. I can't really count that as my education in Wonder Woman. And I have seen the two Gal Gadot DC films. The first one was pretty damn good. The second one was but that's about it. I knew enough that when they declared in one iteration of Wonder Woman that she was from Krypton like Superman was, that was complete rubbish. But that was about it. This is another sort of reimagining of the Wonder Woman saga, giving her a new origin of a sort. She's still an Amazon, but for reasons I'm not entirely sure of, she's taken as an infant from Themyscira and taken to hell to be raised by Circe, who has been condemned to hell for pissing off Zeus for some reason. She probably said no to him or something. And so the Wonder Woman that steps into the world to save Gateway City from being destroyed by some thing is not the Wonder Woman of the Linda Carter era, is not the Wonder Woman from the two DC movies, and is certainly not the Wonder Woman from Krypton. This one has grown up amongst demons and critters and things, and is heavily steeped in magic and Greek mythology. The main story bounces between two timelines, one of the ongoing events at Gateway City with these great big things going on and the potential of mass death on the brink of happening, and Circe in hell with a baby, then with a toddler, then with a child, etc, etc, as she raises Diana in a rather unpleasant place. And of course, as things progress at Gateway City, as revelations come to pass and things happen, we have the occasional flashback back to hell and Circe as conditions for her success on the surface are explored in hell. How could she have done that? Well, because of this, when that happened back when she was growing up, and then when she did this and she made this choice, it now means that when she faces across this great beastie, she can do this. I'm trying to keep it a little bit vague because there's lots of pretty epic moments and there's a lot of spoilers in here, and I don't want to spoil any of that because a lot of the fun of reading this one was finding out all these new tidbits, particularly, as I said, I didn't know anything about her much in the first place. And of course I now had to forget what I didn't know because this is all completely new. So on the front cover here, she is not riding an invisible plane, which I know one of the original iterations has. Instead got this skeletal Pegasus. And there's a great bit where someone asks, which Pegasus is this? No, this is Pegasus. Yeah, I know it's a Pegasus. Which one? No, this is the Pegasus. This is the Pegasus that was called Pegasus, which is why a winged horse is called Pegasus. It was killed by Zeus, again because he's a bit of a dick, and been raised from the dead, hence it's a skeleton. And who doesn't want to fly about on a skeletal Pegasus? They can also breathe fire. Pretty cool. She also wields a big-ass sword as well. What's not to love about that? I really did enjoy the story. I enjoyed the way it was told. I enjoyed the way that we had these flashbacks to explaining how she could then do the things that she goes on to do. I did find the conclusion at the end of the first segments a little bit anime in that, you know, she pulls out this new trick out of the bag and does this thing out of nowhere. It's like, well, okay, where did that come from? We then do get an explanation about it in the following segment, but it's a case of, I didn't know she could do that. I wasn't expecting that. That's really cool, but there was nothing leading up to doing that to hint that she could do that, sort of thing. I like what she did. It was completely out of left field. I also liked how they resolved what she did to resolve the situation. That was very cleverly done as well. Again, keeping it very vague to toy spoilers. Yeah, all really cool. The artwork is quite interesting. This is like a sequential series of her growing up in hell as their den becomes more and more personalised, and Circe realises again and again that this little thing, there's far more to her than first meets the eye. This is no mere child. I also like the design of her costume. Very much a costume that one would expect a warrior woman to wear. Notice the complete failure to feature how her boobs fit into her top or how high she has to wax her bikini line. No, we've actually got a practical wearable outfit for fighting creatures and beasties and all sorts of things and wielding this kick-ass sword. I'm going to look at the size of that. And there she is on the opposite page wielding one of her 3 lassos. I thought she only had one, but no, apparently she's got 3 and they all do something different, which again is really cool. So the main crux of the story, The Last Amazon, is told over the first 5 of the comics, leaving 6 and 7 titled The Lady or the Tiger, which sees her back in hell battling against a tiger person thing in a gladiatorial arena for reasons. There's a different art style to it, and there's a little bit more about her being in hell and a greater injection of the Greek mythology. Here she is visiting Prometheus, for example, as he's undergoing his punishment for taking the fire from the gods and giving it to the humans. I think I preferred this art style. It's slightly more realistic, but it wouldn't have worked with the previous story where we had lots of unrealistic things happening. It would have just looked wrong. And regarding the Greek mythology, it does behoove a reader to be up on what they're reading, and I do know a fair bit of Greek mythology, but I'm no expert. And, you know, Circe, for example, I don't really know much about Circe. Prometheus, I know what he did and I know what his punishment was, but yeah, just because I happen to have read something else that told me about it. And I would say perhaps having a little appendix in here listing some of the Greek mythology that's referenced and just how it's relevant in this absolute Wonder Woman universe would have been nice, but then Google's right there. You can look up Circe, you can look up Zeus. You know, we literally have the entire wealth of human knowledge at our fingertips. No excuse not to use it. And then right at the end, also written by Kelly, is Little Diana, which features a 3rd art style, and each one is told in a single page, and there's 4 pages of it, so 1, 2 stories there, 3, 4 stories there. They're really short, they're really cute, and just emphasises further Diana the child as she's growing up in hell and how she is not like other children, particularly how she embraces and interacts with the various creatures that inhabit her world, or how they cope with her being in their world. They're really cute, they're quite funny, they're definitely told in a jokey comic book way. You know, like the full page Sunday cartoon segment of a newspaper where what would normally be consigned to a comic strip during the rest of the week gets a full page to tell its gag. They very much come across like those, but really good, and certainly it fitting in with the mythology and the absolute Wonder Woman tale that's been told. My only critique with those is I wanted more of those. Only 4. I mean, this contains 7 comics. Why not 1 per comic? And then I can have 7 of them. A lot of the book is dedicated to alternate covers of the various comics. Most of them are absolutely fantastic. I want to look at that one. Isn't that just glorious? I know the size of that sword. Fantastic. Another one there, still with the sword. Another one there. Amazing, amazing artwork. Yeah, my wife threw this at me saying, read this is really good. I can see why she did. I completely agree with her. This is definitely a booktastic. Not bad for the first book of the year. I would highly recommend this to anyone who doesn't know anything about Wonder Woman, like me, as a really good starting point to a version of Wonder Woman that perhaps we should be getting rather than what we've got. I'd also recommend it to fans of Wonder Woman as a good iteration of Wonder Woman. I'm just repeating what my wife just told me, but I would agree this is very much booktastic. So have you read Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 1, The Last Amazon? What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not? Or what version of a superhero is your favourite version of them? So many now have been reimagined, revamped. You know, it could be on screen, it could be in comic book form, it could be a TV series. If you talk about a particular superhero, which version is for you, version of that particular superhero? It's like Christopher Reeves is my Superman, for example. Anyway, comment down below, please. But as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things, if you want. And until next time, see you later.